What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm gonna do Monica Geller today. For those of you who may not know or haven't been watching me long enough to know that I am a Monica, I am a Monica through and through. I vacuum my vacuum, I vacuum my brooms. I clean all of the cleaning stuff. I'm full of energy, I'm competitive, and I can be an asshole, and I want everything to be perfectly clean and done a certain way. There you have it. I am a Monica. I happen to also be married to a Chandler, who's a very, very sarcastic person who nobody really knows what his job is. But interestingly enough, when I took the quiz to find out which Friends character I was Mike. I was like, what? That's an option. You know, remember Phoebe's husband. This isn't an exact replica of any of the one look that Monica wore at any point in time throughout the show. This is kind of like a interpretation of like the style she wore. I definitely followed some reference pictures when I did my eyes and my eyebrows. But besides that, and of course the blush. Yes, I grew up in the 90s, but I do not want to come off as like a gatekeeper of 90s makeup or a gatekeeper of grunge.
Oh my god, you don't know anything about the 80s. You don't know anything about the 90s. You weren't alive then. Why do you care? I
lived through the 70s and I was an actual hippie. You have no business wearing that. I was the kid in the 90s that wore like the AC/DC and Guns N' Roses and Metallica t-shirts, and I'm sure that like the older people, like Gen Xers, were like looking at us like,
who do these kids think they are?
And now we see like teenagers wearing Nirvana and stuff, and I have to like turn that thing in my brain. No. They can wear whatever they want because so did you. Why do you care if they like what you grew up with? I don't even notice it anymore. I used to, I'd be like,
why are they wearing like Limp Bizkit t-shirts?
Who wears Limp Bizkit t-shirts? I don't want to come off like that at all. I love younger people. They are the future of this world. So, sorry. This is not the be-all end-all of a 90s makeup tutorial. There were so many different styles of makeup in the 90s. There are so many different styles of makeup now. There's never just one style that kind of goes for each generation. There are certain trends that will develop that can definitely evolve into its own style, which is kind of cool. Like back when I was a kid, like in the 90s, the 80s were in style, or the 70s. It was the 70s that were in style, and I had to have bell bottoms and patent leather neon platform sandals. Neon green platforms. Oh my god, look at these kids. Think they know the 70s. Ugh. Anyway, I think I've rambled on and ranted enough about this. So the eye part is gonna be a voiceover, but then the rest of it will be a talk through. So I hope you like this tutorial. So first I'm just gonna prime my eyes with concealer, and then I'm gonna set it with like a light colored shadow. Then I'm gonna put a little bit of peach shadow on top of it to help me blend. Then I'm gonna go in with that gray toned shade in the Makeup Revolution palette, and I'm just gonna put that in my crease. It's a little bit hard to blend sometimes, so I'm just gonna stick with it and keep blending until it's blended. I'm gonna make sure I'm putting that on the bottom of my brow bone, really. I don't wanna bring it up too far. I don't want it to get too close to my eyebrow. This isn't supposed to be a super dramatic look. And I'm gonna take that little Real Techniques crease brush, and I'm gonna go in with the darker brown shade and keep that even more defined in my crease. I'm gonna blend that out, but I don't want to drag it up or down too far. Again, I just want to make sure I deepen up that brow bone area. Then I'm going to take a little Real Technique shading brush, and I'm going to take the black shade in that Makeup Revolution palette, and I'm going to kind of fashion a wing on the outer part of my eye. The idea really is just to kind of lift that up. It doesn't have to be super precise. I'm going more for an effect than I am a precise, you know, application. So I'm just going to keep blowing that out and make a really diffused wing effect on the outer part of my eye. Then I'm going to take one of the white shades in that palette, and I'm going to pat that onto the empty space in my lid, and just keep going back and forth with that shade as well as the darker shades until I get a uniform look there. There's a lot of back and forth here just because I'm working with only matte shadows. They don't want to stick. Sometimes they just kind of want to blend off. Then I'm going to take an Eco Tools pencil brush and that black shade and put it right up next to my lash line. And then blend it out just a tiny bit as needed. But I want to darken up the area right next to my lashes. And again, going back and forth with that white shade and the blending brush. Alright, so now that we've got that over with, I'm going to do the rest of my makeup, but I'm not going to do a voiceover for this. I'm just going to do it. It's so much easier for me to do a voiceover for the eyeshadow, but everything else, it's not much different. And I'm just going to use this CC cream, this IT Cosmetics, which, by the way, has anybody seen their concealer line coming out? Because I want to try it. I already have this one concealer that will probably have forever. It has so much concealer in it, but you know. So this, as I said, is like a different kind of 90s makeup. This is definitely more of a like, it's just one of those everyday TV stars, you know. Obviously it's a little different than my other 90s tutorials. But for this look, I mean, I don't think, they didn't really wear super full coverage foundation, but it was decent because it was enough that the blush and bronzer that they wore was definitely prominent on their face. So I'm definitely going to go for a little bit of a full coverage just because I want to go back in with bronzer and, you know, fix it. I am going to do some concealer because they definitely had like a pretty bright under eye. Monica for sure had like the bright under eye. Her and Phoebe. Not so much Rachel. She had more of like the bronze goddess look, but I'm gonna use the concealer to highlight the parts of my face I would normally highlight. Yeah, there were definitely like areas of brightness on Monica's face. Not as crazy as I'm gonna do probably, but oh well. Okay, so now I am gonna set my face just a little bit, like under my eyes, and just setting it down. I don't want too powdery, but at the same time, like the late 90s was like, they loved their mattes. They loved their matte foundations and their like matte look. So as you might already have guessed, I'm not gonna be highlighting today. And this is the part where I get to kind of clean up my line here a little bit. Make it not look super messy. Monica didn't have a huge wing, but she did have like the lifted look where, you know, you kind of drag that line from there to the outer corner just to lift your eye up a little bit. She definitely had that going on, but she didn't have like a bold wing usually. I think there were like some episodes where she was like dressed up and had a wing, and I was like really tempted to do one of those, but I just decided to pick like one, you know, my favorite quintessential Monica look and just do that. Now I am gonna mattify the rest of my face. I'm gonna use a powder that must not be named, but it is the only pressed powder I own right now, so I'm gonna use it anyway. And I'm just gonna like press the powder onto my face. Don't want to rub all my makeup off. If this were really the 90s, I would probably using the CoverGirl powder that smelled like I can smell it in my head. It probably still smells the same way. I don't know. I don't use that powder anymore. I think I only had it because I thought I was like supposed to. I was like, yeah, I'll keep this in my purse because all my friends do. I need one of those brown CoverGirl compacts that eventually became a seafoam green. I remember one of my friends saying like, you can't wear powder without foundation. Go ahead, Sarah. You can't wear powder by itself. And I was like, you can't? Oh my God, you can't wear powder by itself. But just you wait until we do the bronzer and blush. This is like the most exciting part of this look for me because it is not something that I would ever wear nowadays, but I distinctly remember how people put it on this way. Like watching my friends and family who actually wore makeup, I remember how they did it. You didn't think I was watching, did you? Now, while bronzer may not have been very popular during the grunge days, it definitely dominated the late 90s and like early 2000s makeup. Like, I remember my friends at one point just being like, I don't even wear blush anymore. I only wear bronzer. Where have you been, Sarah? God. You guys might remember those little tiny blush brushes and bronzer stuff that they would use, and they would do this. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm going for it. We're going for like the straight up stripe down the side of the face. Got it? And doing the face like this. That's a requirement for this makeup look. It's all about facial positions. It's like Katakali theater, how they're all taught to like have control over all the muscles in their face. So were 90s makeup wearers. Oh yeah, now we're getting somewhere, guys. Look at that. That's what we're going for. Make sure we get it into the hairline, but we don't want it up here, because oh no. Just gonna kind of blend the edges in slightly. And for blush, I'm gonna take this old Cheeks on Parade palette. Okay, that's not what it's called. It's called the Cheekathon. Like, this is just old as the hills. And we're gonna take Dallas right here. This is that like reddish, almost plum gray toned blush that it just reminds me of like Friends blush. We're doing it. Oh yeah, there it is. That was fun. It was just as fun as I thought it would be. I'm gonna clean it up, don't worry. Just wanted to have some fun, okay? Soften it up a little bit. I'm gonna do what I usually do when I get crazy with my bronzer and blush. And I'm just gonna take my Hourglass powder and go over it just a little bit because it's like really light. Or actually, no. I wanna keep it matte. So I'm gonna take my powder that must not be named and put it over this. See, looks a little better already, right? Oh yeah, I'm like looking at this my reference picture. It's just as orange as my makeup right here. Like her bronzer and stuff is like just as orange. Oh man, like that orangey look. The only thing I need to do is clean up a little bit down here. I did want to bring it down further than I usually do, but not as far as I've gotten right here. Gonna go over it a little bit. I don't want to use the RCMA, like the white powder, because then it'll just kind of get weird. A little better. Now it seemed like Monica generally had bangs, at least like the side swooped ones, but it's like in one of her older episodes where she's definitely got the like, I mean, it looks like sideburns. Like the way they wore their blush, I love it, but it was like really low. Anyway, it looks like she may have had like a little bronzer, not right here, but like up top here. So I'm gonna do that. Now this like that's not like my bronzer looking like breaking up or anything. That's just some hyperpigmentation I've got on my head. I wonder if I were to shave my head, what shape it would all be in. Something to think about. And I'm gonna leave the blush pretty heavy because, I don't know, it just feels like a huge part of this look to me, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. For the under eyes though, honestly, they did not really seem to put a ton of makeup on their lower lash line. In my like trial run of this makeup, I basically just mixed these two browns together right here, this black and this brown, and kind of continued that shape on the top. I just didn't want it as dark. And it appeared as though, to me, that Monica doesn't generally, at least in the looks that I'm kind of going for, doesn't generally wear anything on her waterline unless it's like a beige or like a cream colored or ivory colored eyeliner, or back then it might have just been concealer. I have no idea. But she did definitely have like a circular kind of shape going on her lower lash line with her eyeshadow, and it kind of got darker on the outside and then faded towards the middle just a tad. Sometimes she didn't have any at all. Definitely like a combination of all my favorite parts of Monica's makeup. I got a little too crazy, so I'm just gonna take some of that off right here. You can use a Q-tip, probably work better than a sponge, but I really just don't want a lot on my lower lash line. So for my brows, obviously, as I said in like another one of my 90s videos, they had thin brows. That was like the thing. I'm not gonna tweeze the crap out of my brows just for this video, you know? So what I generally do is I just kind of draw the look on with my eyebrow pencil, and then if I have kind of straight brows on the outer part, I don't really worry about it too much. But I do want to try to get the shape right. I mean, you don't really have to, but I don't know, I kind of want to. And hers were definitely heavier on the inner part and then lighter and thinner as they went out. So I'm gonna try and mimic that same idea here by like filling in my inner parts darker than the outer. And Courtney Cox had one hell of an eyebrow arch that I do not have. But this is the effect we're going for. So that's about as much filling in as I'm gonna do. I just kind of want the general idea. I'm just gonna use brow gel, and this is like really sticky brow gel to kind of stick everything in place. Kind of bring these up to meet the rest. You see what I'm doing here? Like thinning my eyebrows out a little bit. That is weird. I'm not used to having brows like this. This one's gonna be a little turd. I just know it. I hate this eyebrow. He's like, you know what? I do what I want. I am an independent woman. I don't care what the follicles say. Now I'm just gonna put some mascara on. Obviously, I'm not gonna wear any fake eyelashes because that would just cover up all the effort I put into this effect I have on my eye right now. I have to slouch to do my mascara, so if you'll excuse me. Now for lips. So I have a few different kind of options I wanted to do. So I'm gonna go with this, what some might call a 90s brown. But I don't know that this is exactly like a 90s brown, but Monica had so many different lip colors. She wore like a reddish brown. She wore sometimes just like straight up cherry red, like a more brown, like dark maroon brown. She didn't always wear the same thing, but it was generally like in the brown family. This is probably the closest thing that I have to the look that I'm going for right now, because it's kind of in between a brown and a nude, which she definitely wore a nude. So I'm gonna use this one. This is called Just Add Marshmallows. It's by Makeup Monsters. I freaking love it. Probably gonna follow my natural lip line today. I oftentimes will kind of go up and then down, but I think I'm gonna follow my natural lip line today because Monica had like pretty thin lips before she started getting fillers. I've said it before and I'll say it again, my lips aren't symmetrical. And why fight it, you know? Alright guys, thanks again for watching. I hope you liked this tutorial. If you did, if not, that's cool too, but I will see you guys next time. Peace out. Oh my God, can you believe she says peace out? Like that was our thing back in the 60s. Why is she doing that? Who does she think she is?